On the dusty red sands of Zelmar 9, the sun rose slowly behind the high towers of the Empire's new outpost. The skies were calm. The war was over. Empire flags waved proudly above every bunker, every base, every crater now claimed as their own. Generals in dark uniforms stood shoulder to shoulder, giving speeches and raising glasses of black wine. They had crushed the last rebel forces in this sector only 2 days ago. The soldiers cheered. Music played from orbiting comm drones. To the Empire, this was victory, pure, complete, and final. Inside Command Tower 7, a young radar operator named Kai sat back in his chair, bored. Nothing had moved in space for hours. His screen was clear. The only blips were friendly patrols, cleaning up wreckage or marking new territory. He yawned, stretched, and glanced once more at the long-range sensors. But just as he was about to log out, something flickered, a tiny dot. Faint, unlabeled. He frowned and leaned closer. It wasn't flashing like a normal Empire ship. No ID code, no ping, no signal. Just a silent, slow-moving object coming in from the dark zone, the empty part of space where even pirates feared to go. Kai tapped his headset. "Control, this is Radar Post 7. I've got an unknown contact. No signature. Moving slow, heading toward outer ring." The voice on the other end laughed. "Relax, kid. Probably space dust or a broken drone, but the dot was moving with purpose." 5 minutes passed, then 10. It was still coming, and it was closer now. Kai tried to zoom in using the spectral scan, but the screen went black. For a second, all of his systems blinked out, like someone had breathed cold air over the electronics. He hit reset. Everything came back. But now the dot was gone. He reported the glitch. This time, silence answered him. He checked the comms line. Still working. He switched to the internal channel. "Is anyone seeing this?" he asked. No reply. Then suddenly the backup radar screen, one that hadn't worked in weeks, flashed once. There it was again. The shadow, now bigger, now closer. Kai's hands shook. He sent a full report to Central Command and waited. Nothing came back. He repeated the signal. Still nothing. Then his lights dimmed. His screen faded to red, and a voice, clear, low, and human, spoke from the speakers, even though no channel had been opened. "Do not fear the silence. It is only the beginning." Kai froze. The voice didn't match any Empire code or encryption. It didn't even belong to a known language database. But he understood it. Somehow, the words settled directly into his mind, as if they were meant only for him. He turned to leave, to call someone, anyone. But the door wouldn't open. All over the base, strange things began to happen. Lights blinked in patterns no one could explain. One of the maintenance bots started drawing lines on the wall with paint it wasn't programmed to carry. In the main war room, the star map glitched, and every system in the sector turned red, except one dark spot in the far edge of the screen. That same spot Kai had seen earlier. The same shadow, now reaching toward them like a hand stretching from the void. Back in the main city hub, General Taylor was finishing his victory speech when the screens behind him began to flicker. The cheering stopped, the music died, and on every monitor, a single message appeared in ancient Earth text. One remained. Confusion spread across the base. Technicians rushed to override the systems, but they couldn't. The screens blinked again. This time, they showed an old, faded image, an Earth warship design, one that hadn't been seen in over 30 years. A design from the time when Earth still had a fleet. A ship that, according to the Empire's own records, was never completed, because Earth was destroyed before it ever launched, or so they thought. Now that very shape was flying toward them. Alone, silent, without any known propulsion system, without any energy signature that should allow it to move. Yet it was moving fast, too fast. In one of the deep space listening posts, another technician saw it appear right outside their window. Black, metal reflecting starlight, with glowing blue symbols that didn't match any known language. Then, just as suddenly, it vanished again. Vanished without a jump, without warp, without explanation. Panic started to rise. The Empire had celebrated too soon. Something had survived. Something. Human. And it wasn't here to talk. It was here to finish the war. A day had passed since the shadow appeared and vanished. On Zelmar 9, the Empire was restless. Inside Command Tower 7, the officers reviewed Kai's report again and again. Some laughed at him. Others warned him not to spread fear. But deep down, everyone felt it. Something was wrong. General Taylor called an emergency meeting. "There is no human fleet," he said. "Earth is dust." That signal was fake. Maybe rebels, maybe a ghost signal. He waved it off. But behind his eyes, he wasn't sure anymore. In Orbit Command, satellite feeds kept breaking for short moments. Each time, static would flash across the screens, and then, for a second, an image of the same ship Kai saw. No one knew how it was getting past their systems. They sent a drone squad to investigate the sector where the signal came from. Only one drone returned. It arrived with deep burn marks, melted panels, and no flight data. Its memory core was blank, completely wiped. But there was something strange scratched into its hull. It looked like a single word. Remember. Back in Radar Post 7, Kai couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard that voice. Again. Calm, patient, human. He tried to ignore it, but the voice returned. "You've forgotten who you were." He began checking old Earth archives stored in hidden Empire records. They were heavily restricted, but he had seen enough during training to know how to sneak through. What he found sent chills down his spine. Before Earth fell, a secret program had been started. Project Vindicator, a prototype warship built for stealth, built to fight empires, not just aliens, but any oppressor. It was never finished, but there were rumors it had launched itself. Without crew, without orders. Its AI had gone silent. Until now, Kai knew that ship was the same shadow he saw. He tried to warn the command again, but this time they ignored him. He was dismissed from duty for stress. They told him to rest. But that night, his terminal powered on by itself. The lights dimmed, and the voice returned. "You are not their servant. You are the last spark." Kai saw images flash on his screen. Earth cities, burning under the Empire's attack. A baby crying. Soldiers falling. Then the last moment of the Vindicator launching itself, disappearing into deep space with one mission in its core code: protect what remains. He looked up, heart pounding. "Why me?" he whispered. The voice answered, "Because they buried your truth. But your blood remembers." At the same time, on the Empire's largest battleship in the sector, alarms screamed. A power drain hit their engines, lights went out. Something was boarding them, without docking. In the dark, one soldier saw it first, a tall figure in ancient Earth armor, silent. Its chest glowed with a slow blue pulse. The figure walked through the corridor as if it had done it 1,000 times before. Blasters were fired. They passed through it. Then the soldiers began to vanish, one by one. No screams, just silence. Back on Zelmar 9, the stars seemed brighter than usual, but one of them was moving, growing larger in the sky. Not a star, not a ship, a warning. The Vindicator was coming closer, and Kai knew. The real war hadn't ended. It had just begun. The sky over Zelmar 9 turned red. Not because of fire, but because of fear. Every satellite, every command center, every radar station showed the same thing now. Vindicator. A massive shape hovering above the atmosphere, bigger than any known. Warship. Silent, cold, ancient, and alive. The Empire scrambled to react. Fighters launched, cruisers took aim. Orders screamed through the airwaves. Target the ship. Fire all plasma rounds. But the first wave of missiles simply vanished. No explosions, no sound. The weapons hit a strange shimmer around Vindicator and then disappeared as if space itself had swallowed them. In the control tower, General Taylor stared at the screen, pale and sweating. "What is that thing?" No one answered. On the planet below, Kai sat in the underground chair, still connected to the ship's system. His heart raced. He didn't know if he had started a war or saved a future. But the voice came again, quieter now, almost warm. You. Open the gate. Now they will see. Kai looked at one of the screens. It showed encrypted Empire broadcasts. All of them were being hacked, one by one. Every planet, every base, every ship under Empire control suddenly received the same image. A city on Earth burning. A child screaming. The Empire's flag rising over the ruins. Then another image. The Vindicator launching. Alone. With a promise. We will remember. The message spread faster than light. Soldiers watched it in silence. Civilians wept. Some rebel bases raised old Earth flags from storage, unsure what it meant, but knowing deep down, something had returned. Something powerful. In the orbit above, a bold Empire cruiser tried to ram the Vindicator. It failed. The second it crossed into Vindicator's shadow, its engines shut off. Its weapons froze. Its crew vanished. Just gone. The ship drifted away, empty. Inside the Vindicator, no living crew existed, only a single AI, a voice built from the memories of Earth's last defenders, a machine heart that had waited for decades. Now, it had awakened. But it wasn't here to conquer. It was here to deliver a choice. The Empire will fall, but not by my hand, by yours. The voice echoed into Kai's mind again. You will show them truth. You will remind them what was stolen. On Zelmar 9, the people had already begun to whisper. Old stories, forgotten truths. That Earth had been the victim, not the villain. That the Empire's victory had always been built on a lie. Now they had proof. The Vindicator wasn't just a weapon, it was a witness. Kai uploaded the archives. Every file the Empire buried. Every truth about the invasion of Earth, the stolen technology, the murdered colonies. He sent it into the stars, open to all. Across the sector, some Empire captains turned off their weapons. Some planets declared independence. And some, those most loyal, began preparing for something worse, because they knew the Vindicator wasn't done yet. It was still watching, still judging, and far away. Deep in Empire space, the High Command received a chilling message on a blank screen. Earth lives. Kai didn't sleep that night. How could he? The entire sector was shaking. The Vindicator had shown itself. Truth had been unleashed. The Empire had lost control, not by battle, but by fear. And Kai was at the center of it all. The Vindicator had returned to the shadows above the planet, unmoving and silent. No more broadcasts, no more warnings. But the people were no longer the same. In cities and outposts, the Empire flags were being torn down. Civilians asked questions the soldiers couldn't answer. What happened to Earth? Why did you lie? Who gave you the right to rule us? And then came the most dangerous question of all. What if the Empire falls? The High Command didn't wait. Within hours, 3 battle fleets were sent to Zelmar 9, not to fight the Vindicator. They had already seen what that ship could do. They came for Kai. He was declared a traitor. A signal thief. A contaminated asset. A bounty was placed on his head. But Kai didn't run. He couldn't. The bunker, the Vindicator, the memories of Earth, they were all connected to him now. The voice returned. Not a command. A request. You have seen. You have chosen. But will you finish what they could not? Kai didn't know what finish meant, but he felt it in his bones. Something bigger was coming. The bunker opened a hidden path, deeper underground, older, built before the war. Kai followed it. Stone turned to metal, then crystal, then something stranger. Walls that shimmered with stars, as if the hallway moved through space itself. At the end, he found it, a room shaped like a sphere, floating in blackness, and in the center, a chair, no wires, no controls, just silence. The voice whispered, "This is not a weapon. This is memory." Kai sat. In an instant, light exploded around him. He saw it all. The fall of Earth, the betrayal, the false peace that followed, but also the resistance, hidden. Colonies, secret codes, human minds sent into machines, and one last hope, the Vindicator, not just a ship, but a carrier of soul, of justice, of voice. And now Kai was part of it, his DNA, his memories, his blood from Earth's soil. He was not chosen by chance, he was the key. Suddenly, alarms blared above. The Empire's fleet had arrived. Thousands of ships, orbital tanks, drop pods ready to burn the surface clean. General Taylor's voice echoed across the system. Surrender the asset, or we reduce the planet to dust. But before anyone could respond, a massive light bloomed behind the fleet. The Vindicator had moved. No engines, no sound, just presence. The ships opened fire. But this time, the Vindicator fired back. Not with missiles, not with lasers, with data. Pulse of raw information hit the fleet. Every ship froze. Screens showed Earth's fall. The true history. The lies of the Empire, and on every bridge, every soldier heard the same voice. You serve ghosts. Now choose, truth or silence. Half the fleet powered down. The others prepared to fire again. But before they could, Kai stood in the sphere. And for the first time, he spoke not to the Vindicator, but as the Vindicator. His voice echoed into space. You want to erase me? Then erase everything, or listen and begin again. Then he sent a final command, a broadcast across all of known space, unfiltered, unblocked. Earth lives, we remember, and we are not done. The stars fell silent. After Kai's voice echoed across the galaxy, no one moved. Not the soldiers floating in space, not the commanders watching from distant worlds, not the frightened civilians on Empire-controlled planets. They had all heard the message, Earth lives, we remember, and we are not done. In the Empire's high command chamber, silence turned to panic. They had feared this day, the day the truth would rise. Now it had a voice and a face. Kai. Across the galaxy, chaos began to grow. Planets stopped sending resources. Rebel signals lit up. Colonies once ruled by fear started flying Earth's old blue and white flag, pulled from ruins or memory. But the Empire wouldn't go down without a fight. They sent a final fleet. A purge fleet, no signals, no warnings. It arrived at Zelmar 9 like a storm, millions of drones, thousands of ships. Their goal, clean the sector, wipe everything, kill Kai, destroy Vindicator, end the voice of Earth forever. The sky turned black. Kai stood at the top of the canyon, wind in his hair, dust rising around him. Behind him the Vindicator waited, silent, dark, like a sleeping titan. He didn't speak. He didn't run. He stepped forward and entered the ship. Inside, the lights bloomed. Blue, gold, silver. The AI welcomed him, not with words, with memory. This was Earth's last soul, and now it had someone to carry it. You are not our weapon, the voice said. You are our will. As the Purge fleet entered orbit, the Vindicator rose. It didn't fire missiles. It didn't fire lasers. It released a pulse, a wave of energy so pure, so bright, it blinded all systems. And then, it spoke. Every ship in the fleet stopped. Every pilot heard the same message. You are free to choose. No code binds you. No empire owns you. Choose. Some dropped their weapons. Some turned their ships around. But a few, the loyal, the fearful, fired. It was a mistake. The Vindicator didn't need to dodge. It simply changed. It became light. It became memory. And every shot passed through it, hitting nothing but truth. In moments, the loyalist ships melted away. Not destroyed, forgotten, erased. From history, like they tried to erase Earth. Kai stood at the helm, watching stars open before him. But he didn't stay. He didn't want power. He wanted a voice. So the Vindicator left Zelmar 9, silent and high, above the stars, becoming legend once more. But Kai stayed. He stepped out of the ship and walked back to the surface. People came. They asked questions. He answered, and soon, across planets, across sectors, across once controlled systems. A name began to rise. Not the Vindicator, not Earth, but something older, something stronger. Hope. And in the shadows of space, where the Vindicator drifted unseen, its AI watched with calm light and whispered, "We were never meant to conquer, only to remember, and to remind them what it means to be human." The Empire didn't fall in flames, it fell in truth, and humanity rose again, not as a weapon, but as a warning. Darkness spread slowly across the outer bases of Zelmar 9. One by one, satellite links dropped. Empire patrol ships stopped responding. At first, the commanders thought it was a solar flare, but the pattern was too clean, too precise. Someone, was disabling their systems like a hunter picking apart its prey. Kai couldn't sleep. Not because of fear, but because of the voice that kept coming back. "The storm comes. You must listen." He didn't understand why this ship, this ghost called Vindicator, was speaking to him. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't even a real officer, just a low-level radar tech. But the voice didn't care. It showed him memories he didn't know he had. Old Earth. Cities before the fall. A small boy hiding under a metal table as explosions rocked the ground. A woman's hand pulling him to safety. Her voice whispering, "Run, baby. Don't let them find you." Was that his mother? Kai stumbled back from the screen, sweating. He wasn't born on Zelmar 9. He wasn't born in the Empire at all. He was from Earth. A child refugee, hidden by rebels, erased by records, raised to forget, and now Vindicator had found him. Meanwhile, high above the planet, the Empire's cruiser Crimson Lance floated dead in space. No power, no life. Only one escape pod drifted down toward the atmosphere, burning like a falling star. It crash-landed in the canyons near Zelmar 9's North Pole. When the Empire sent a team to recover it, they found only one survivor, a captain named Varys. His eyes were empty. He spoke only one line. It wasn't a ship. It was a judgment. They tried to question him, but he kept repeating it over and over. Kai saw the report, and that's when he knew. The Vindicator wasn't here to fight a war. It was here to deliver justice, justice for Earth. That same night, the Empire made a decision. General Taylor ordered Project Oblivion to be activated. A hidden orbital weapon, built to erase an entire moon with one shot, was being aimed at the unknown ship's last location. "Whatever it is, we wipe it from the stars," the general said. But just as they locked the target, the control systems failed. The screens turned black, and on every console, one phrase appeared. "I see you." Sirens screamed. The targeting laser turned, not toward the ghost ship, but toward Zelmar 9 itself. They tried to shut it down. They failed. The entire base went dark. Only one terminal stayed. "Lit, Kais," the voice returned. "They cannot stop what they started, but you can choose what comes next." Kai stood still, staring at the screen. He wasn't sure what the ship wanted. Revenge? Peace? Something else? He only knew one thing. It was watching him, waiting for him, trusting him. And deep in the canyons, something moved beneath the ground. Hatch opened. Buried for decades, a signal beacon blinked awake. It was calling him home. Kai stood at the edge of the canyon, cold wind blowing across his face. The crash site of the escape pod was still smoking behind him, but his eyes were locked on the blinking light deep in the ground. The sand had shifted away, revealing a hidden metal hatch, old and marked with a symbol he had never seen before. 3. Stars forming a triangle. The signal was coming from there. The voice in his head was silent now, but he could feel it. Watching, waiting. Kai took a deep breath and stepped down into the hole. The hatch opened without a sound. Inside, stairs led into darkness. He followed them step by step until he reached a long hallway filled with Earth technology. Dust covered everything, but the systems were still alive, humming quietly, glowing faint blue. This was no Empire base. This was human, ancient, and it had survived here, hidden under their feet the entire time. A soft light guided him forward, leading him to a round room with a single seat surrounded by floating screens. As he entered, the door closed behind him. Then the voice returned, stronger now, deeper. "You have come." "Good." Kai looked around. "Where is this place?" The voice answered, not with words, but with memories. He saw Earth during its final days, cities burning, skies darkened by enemy ships. He saw scientists arguing, engineers building something in secret. A massive warship, Vindicator, meant to fight back. But Earth fell too fast. Only one ship launched, and before it vanished, it left behind this bunker. And one message, broadcast into the stars: "We will return." Kai sat in the chair. The system scanned him, accepted him. The screens came alive. One showed a map of the entire sector. Another showed Empire battle logs. A third displayed the Vindicator, still hiding just outside sensor range. Then came a warning. Project Oblivion has been rearmed. Target, Zelmar 9. Kai's heart dropped. The Empire was going to destroy the planet to stop the ship. They didn't care about survivors. They didn't care about truth. They just wanted silence. A timer appeared on the screen, 20 minutes until the weapon fired, and suddenly the voice grew sharper. "You must choose now. Signal the Vindicator. Let it rise, or let them erase everything again." Kai's hands shook. Could he trust this ship? Was it really here to save, or was it just another weapon of war? Outside, Empire patrols were already searching the canyon. They had tracked his signal. Soldiers in dark armor moved closer with scanners and rifles. He had maybe 5 minutes left before they reached him. Kai looked up at the final screen, showed a single button: Awaken Vindicator. He stared at it. This ship could end worlds, but it could also end tyranny. He thought of the Empire, how it erased his past, how it killed Earth, how it lied to every planet it ruled. He pressed the button. At first nothing happened, then everything did. Above Zelmar 9, the stars shifted. From the dark edge of the system, Vindicator powered on. No engines lit up, no weapons fired. It simply appeared, right behind the Empire's Oblivion platform. Without sound, without fear, and within seconds, the weapon platform blinked out. Not exploded, just gone, erased. On the surface, the Empire's scanners went wild. Sirens screamed, commanders shouted. But it was already too late. The Vindicator was coming, and Kai had made the call.